Here are 10 animes that you should be watching right now as of winter 2025. Now with anime getting more popular, there's a lot of anime dropping right now, and it's hard to kind of tell which ones are the good ones, which ones are the bad ones. So I just wanted to make this quick video to let you guys know what animes you should probably have on your plate right now. And full disclaimer, this is not a top 10 anime list, okay guys? I am horrible at making top 10 lists, bro. But I still wanted to give you guys 10 anime, so this is just gonna be on the order that I wrote them down. But I will be saving an anime that I believe is the dark horse in the anime world right now for the very last. Let me tell you, nobody's talking about this anime, but it deserves all its flowers. And with that said, I'm gonna start this list off with probably the most popular anime that's like going on right now, and that is Solo Leveling Season 2. I'm seeing clips of this anime everywhere now, and if you're an action fan, you will 100% love this. But in case you haven't heard of this anime, Solo Leveling takes place in a world where people have gained powers and are called hunters, and they go into these gates. These gates are dangerous because they're filled with monsters and beasts. And so our main character, who is the weakest of the weak, is trying to join raids and trying to get some money so that way he can help his mom. But one of the gates he goes into turns out to be almost like a double gate, where there was an extra section that nobody knew about. Now, while a lot of the members of the party got wiped, there's also some people that were able to escape, but left our main character by himself. But instead of getting folded, he actually gained a skill that's pretty much like a level up system, where his powers is pretty much uncapped and he can just keep leveling up. And as he's gaining strength, he's going up the ranks and starting to get attention from people higher up. And this anime, to be honest, is probably the best way a leveling up system has worked, or at least the most entertaining way. Because in most animes, people are easily able to just become OP and they just wreck everything in the anime. But with this, we actually see him putting in the work because there are people out there that are stronger than him. The only downside about this anime, in my opinion, is that the episodes feel way too short. Like, guys, I swear, the episodes feel like they're only 10 minutes long, and they know how to perfectly end it to where you're gonna want to know more. Which technically isn't really a bad thing, but it just shows you how good this anime is. Number 2, Zenshu. Now, this anime is animated by Mappa, so you know the animation is clean, even though this anime is an isekai. Which, guys, there are gonna be isekais on my list. I mean, they're unavoidable at this point. But this anime is about a woman named Natsuko who is a top animator pretty much in Japan at this point. Her first anime that she animated was a big hit, and now everyone's expecting her second one to be amazing as well, which has put her in a lot of stress. However, she is the type of person that wants to do everything by herself. After eating some bad food from her manager, she passes out and wakes up into a new world, in which this world is not just any world. She was put into the anime movie that got her into wanting to do animation in the first place. But she meets her favorite character, and since she knows how the movie goes, she's able to kind of help them out and can predict when these void monsters are going to show up and destroy the city. This isn't isekai, so she has a special power, and that is to animate whatever she can think of into the world. Now, while this anime may seem generic and basic, there is some underlying tones to this, because as the days go on and she's progressing, the story starts to change. As it's starting to change, she's starting to see different sides of characters that she never saw in the movies. So now she's gonna have to start creating new ways to bring people together and keep everybody safe. Now, this is a good anime with a good bit of action, a good bit of adventure. It doesn't really give you that, oh, it's just another basic isekai that you see everywhere else. Especially because right now, there's not really like a level up system. It's just her having to figure out new ways and to create these animations. Now, for the downsides, there's not really too many that I have found for what this anime is supposed to be. I mean, granted, I do wish that, you know, her character design didn't always have it where her hair was covering her face, but I also understand the meaning that she's clouded right now because, again, she's trying to do everything by herself. Like, I know there's supposed to be like a character development moment, you know, probably going on. But besides that, I do believe anybody can enjoy this anime. But speaking of isekais, at number 3, we have Headhunted into Another World. Now, this one is definitely more of a guilty pleasure of mine, but again, since I'm enjoying it, you know, I figured maybe some of you guys will too. This anime is about a guy named Denosuke who was an overseas manager at a company. And now, while he worked hard and did way more than he probably should for them, they still treated him like garbage and made him think that even though he's putting in all this effort, he's not actually producing the right results. Because of that, he has a very big self-esteem issue, even though, you know, he's very good at his job. So good that a demon lord took him from his world into their world and made him to one of his elite soldiers, and his job pretty much overall is to help fix the demon lord's army and economy. Now, obviously, this is a crazy task for a human to do, especially since he doesn't know the way of the land. But because Inosuke has worked with overseas and worked with a lot of different partners, he's very good at negotiating and figuring out business strategies. So with that, he has to use those skills to negotiate with other countries and other species to help, you know, again, the demon lord's army rise. So now, I'm not saying this anime has the craziest story. However, I will say that this anime, again, is entertaining to watch. Because one of the main things I like about it is that there's problems that he has to deal with, and he usually relates to something that he's done in, you know, Japan. So while everybody's over here fighting each other and doing all this and that, he's going there with a business mindset, corporate mindset. He's like, yo, I've done this before. I've had clients where they did this and that. And so even though he isn't the strongest, you know, obviously he's human, he's probably like the weakest one, you know, in that whole city. With his negotiating skills, he's able to, you know, get results done. And the only really downside about this anime is that, you know, it's kind of predictable in a sense, because obviously it's going to be a problem. He's going to have to solve it. It's just seeing how how he's gonna solve it. Like, that's really like the big gist of the anime. You're not gonna get any kind of crazy plot twists, any kind of, mind-blowing scenes, but again, it's just something for you to relax to. Which, speaking of things to relax to, 4 and 5 are pretty much along the same line. So number 4, we have I May Be a Guild Receptionist, but I'll solo any boss though. I know, guys, it's a long title, bro. It's a long title. But I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. Now, guys, this is an anime I was completely ready to roast. Because, as we know, the longer the title, the worse the anime is gonna be. However, this anime actually isn't as bad, you know what I'm saying? As just an anime to turn off your head and just relax to. This anime is about a woman named Alina who's a receptionist at this guild. And as a receptionist, she pretty much handles all the paperwork that goes on at guilds, adventurers, and people of the guild, and gives them quests, and, she pretty much handles all the stuff you see behind the scenes, which can be very busy. And because of that, she's always having to work overtime and not being able to relax. But I guess since the job pays well and, it's steady income, she decides that instead of finding another job, she will just defeat the monsters herself in order to end the quest, finish up the paperwork, so that way, she can get off on time for her next shift. But she has powers that really nobody else in the world has, which is called a diva skill, to where she can summon a weapon and pretty much bonks any enemies that she sees. Now, problem is that she can't be this OP and nobody knows about. So this anime, she has to kind of protect her hidden identity while also trying to kill off these monsters so that way she can go home on time. But to me, this is a funny anime to watch because it's just, there's so many other things she can do. Like, cause she can literally just take 1 year, become an adventurer, get the money, and then just be able to just live off that. But no, she has a particular lifestyle she's trying to live, and so she'd rather just do a lot of extra work to eventually not do as much work, you know what I mean? Now, something I will say about this anime is that the animation is a little rough. This is not the worst animation that you've seen, but it definitely goes up and down when it comes to quality. And I believe that is because they put all their budget into the opening. Because if you watch the opening of this anime, bro, it looks like a completely different series. It gives you that real adventure vibes, like the Kino Journey Freerun kind of vibes, and that she's gonna go off on all these different kind of crazy adventures on her days off, and then comes back, as a receptionist in secret. Which I would 100% love to see that, and that probably would have been one of the best animes of the year. But they spent all their money on that, so now we got just the rest of the anime. Again, we're gonna put this as one of the cozier animes. So speaking of enjoying and kind of easy, guys, which we're kind of talking about, we have number 5 as Dad's Been Reincarnated. Like, again, guys, it's literally what it sounds like. In this anime, an otaku dad is a normal businessman who has a daughter who's also an otaku who's playing this Otome, which I'm pretty sure I said that right. Father gets sent into the game as not as a main character, but as a villain, whose job is to stop the main character from getting one of their love interests. Now, him being a dad, it's not like he knows the best way to be a villain, which definitely shows in the anime. As a character he's supposed to be is this rude, cruel person that's supposed to completely just shut down everything the main character is doing. He is just being a father. So during some of the scenes where the villain is tough on the main character, he is tough, but in like a fatherly love. So he ends up being more lecturing her than bullying her, which the MC of the game sees him as being nice, and he knows. There's the Jason course of how this game is supposed to go. So now this anime is just funny, okay? This anime is just funny to watch, funny to see how like he adds in his dad jokes, how he sees the MC of the game as like his daughter. And so while he's trying to be a villain, try to keep up with the story, he's again more loving her. Plus, it's very funny just to see an old man try, move and act like a woman. And honestly, there's not really too many negative things I can say about this anime because this anime is supposed to be a comedy. Like, it's supposed to be kind of goofy, kind of dumb, and it does a good job of doing it. Well, speaking of comedies, let's go ahead and move on to number 6, which is Sakamoto Days. This is another anime that's trending among the anime community. And it's about this guy named Sakamoto. He was known as the best assassin in the association. And I'm talking everybody knew about him, people feared him, people hated him. Like, everybody in there knew who Sakamoto was. And he lived up to his name. But one day he was at the store shopping and he met this baddie and he decides to throw all that away and start a family with her. Which, if you know anything about assassin organizations, you know that you just can't walk away from it. And so because of that, he has a bounty on his head. So assassins are trying to end his life no matter where he goes. But again, they keep forgetting who Sakamoto is, okay? He knows how to put them down. But there are still some dangerous guys on the loose. So since he's been out of the game for a while, he's gonna have to, brush up on his skills. So guys, this anime is action-packed and hilarious. Because again, just seeing the transformation that he did, bro, and now he's all big, and now seeing this big guy move like this, bro, like, it's so entertaining to watch. And so also, one of the guys that tried to assassinate him but ended up working for him, he can read minds, and the way he communicates to him and everything through his brain, and also just shows if he messes up, he's gonna, easily kill him. It's just, the way they do everything is just refreshing, entertaining, and just, again, something that you'll be able to enjoy. And at the moment, so far, I can't think of anything negative to say about it. With that said, we're moving on to number 7, and we're gonna switch switch it up a little bit. Because the anime I'm listing out next is definitely hyped in the romance anime community. And that's My Happy Marriage Season 2. Which a lot of people, even if you aren't that big into romance, you might actually enjoy this one. But this anime is about a woman named Mia whose family pretty much just tossed her aside. After her birth mother died, her father remarried, and that stepmom did not like the kid at all. She does resemble her mother, aka, his first wife, so he has nothing but hate for the kid. While also in this world, certain families have power. Mia didn't show signs of any, so pretty much they said she's useless. So she was abused and mistreated, and also had to do pretty much servant work as if she was a servant, not even a daughter. And to get something out of her, her father sends her away to get married off to a family which is very powerful, but is known to have a head figure that is ruthless. So it's pretty much just locking in that she is going to be miserable her entire life. And so as she shows up to Kudo's house, aka the head of this noble family, she's expected to continue to be mistreated and everything under the sun, but he pretty much just doesn't like her. He pretty much just brushes her off, which he expected her to leave, but that's not even close to what her family does, so she's kind of okay with it, and if anything, she's willing to prove herself to be valuable. Kudo sees this, and now they start to fall in love with each other. And now, while this is a romance anime, I really do enjoy the story, okay? Like, it's just like a warm, yet, like, low-key thriller, but you know what I'm saying? It's a very good story. It's mainly the progression of the characters, while also this is an action romance in a sense, because Kudo is in the military, and there's these weird monsters and summonings showing up, while also having to deal with other magic users. So you do get a little bit of action in this, with, some sprinkles of mystery. So if you love romance, they do have all the lovey-dovey scenes and all this, intimate moments with each other, you know what I'm saying? They have all that in there jam-packed, and it's just the reason why this is one of the top romance animes out. And speaking of romance and mystery, we're off to number 8 with Apothecary Diaries Season 2. This is another one that's pretty high up there in the anime world, but pretty much this anime is about a girl named Mao Mao who is the daughter of an apothecary, which is people who make medicine. And one day as she's collecting herbs, she gets picked up and pretty much sold to the imperial court, where she's now forced to work as a maid. Now, while this is kind of common in the world, she's not really in too much of a panic. She's like, okay, it is what it is. Do the time and leave when she's allowed to. Because, they did say she only needs to be there for a certain amount of time. So while she's trying to lay low, she's starting to notice some illnesses, some weird things going on between the concubines. And so while she tries to help discreetly, she gets noticed, and now she's one of the ladies in waiting for another concubine. And from there, she solves mysteries and illnesses that are spreading throughout the court. Now, I'm not gonna hold you, I did not expect to enjoy this anime so much. Like, I started it late, and I binged the first season, bro. It was so good. Because there's a lot of mysteries going on with women being killed. Obviously, there's a lot of jealousy going on with the courts because everybody's trying to win the emperor's attention. So there's a lot of poisoning going on. Like, it gets kind of shady in there. So with her help, she's able to pinpoint these guys out and try to keep everybody safe. So I love the fact that there's a big mystery aspect to this anime. Love watching her deduction skills, her like looking at the evidence and having to use her previous knowledge of medicine to try to, pinpoint to what's poisonous and what's not. Now there is romance in the anime between, some of the people in there, but it's not really like forced in your face. You know what I mean? It's just scenes in there, but it's not something that's gonna be too like, oh, this is truly romance. But it is in there, so that's why I say that this is more like a romantic mystery anime that you 100% need to check out. Before we continue on to 9 and 10, if you guys are still watching this video and enjoying it, if you guys could do me a huge favor and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we're on the road to 1,000 and we're almost halfway there. And I know with the power of friendship, we can get there, you know what I'm saying, right? Right. So a subscribe and a like would mean a lot. But let's continue on. At number 9, we have Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. Now, before we say it, I know technically this is not an anime, but I mean, guys, it's close enough. You know what I'm saying? It's anime, solid, everything, okay? So I'm adding it to the list, okay? It's gonna stay on the list. This is the sequel of Castlevania, whose main character was named Trevor Belmont, who was a vampire hunter. This takes place later down the bloodline, with our main character, Richter Belmont, who, after sadly seeing his mom die in front of him, continue the family business of being a vampire hunter. Now, this takes place during the French Revolution. However, that war is obviously not the bigger problem, because there's a vampire named Elizabeth that's becoming OP, and very soon she's gonna pretty much rule over the night, with her being at the top of the vampires, along with these dark creatures that are like, I want to say like Chimera, but like a little different. And after Richter finds this out, he's gonna have to step up to the plate to get rid of these vampires. But of course, he can't do it by himself. So him, along with other magic wielders and sorcerers, team up together to try to stop this messiah of a vampire. And since this spinoff is kind of pretty short, it's hard to really like break down a little bit more about the story without like giving spoilers. But that's pretty much the gist of what's going on. And in season 2, things go from bad to worse. Like, bro, it's worse. It's bad, bro. And let me tell you something. If you love action anime, if you love good fight scenes, if you love magic, if you love vampires, if you love fantasy, let's just put it at that. If you love fantasy, you will love this anime, okay? The animation is beautiful. That fight scenes, they are like, The choreography and the fight scenes are really amazing to watch. I love the character designs because like I feel like there's representation in like all the characters. Like they do everybody right. Honestly, unless you really just don't like the art style of like how the anime is, there's nothing really bad about this anime. Because again, it's straight action, it's not as predictable as you think, and it's just like amazing to watch, okay? Like again, the animation goes crazy. And last but not least, we have our Dark Horse anime at number 10. And this anime is called Orb on the Movements of the Earth. Now, when I tell you guys, this is an anime that is heavily slept on. And I'm not gonna hold you, it's because of the topic of this anime. Because you know, back in the day, the church said that the universe revolves around the Earth. However, astronomers are starting to see something. They're like, wait a minute. I don't think you're right, buddy. They're starting to realize that the Earth is actually moving around something else, but they can't quite figure out exactly what it is yet because anybody that talks against the church gets burnt. You have one time to repent and say you're never gonna study anything like that again, and if you do it again, you're burnt to the stake or pretty much just tortured and killed, and all your research gets burned along with it. Because you know, the church is always right. At least that's what the main character assumed himself. So one day a heretic or a person that is studying something that's evil gets released and pretty much introduces our main character to something that's called heliocentrium. And as our main character was like, no, that's kinda dumb, as he's starting to research and look, he realizes that, yo, wait, hold on, this is actually true. What the church is teaching us is wrong. So now he's on a mission to try to prove this right, because as a scholar, there's no way he can just let this be. So now he's gonna have to figure out a way to study it without getting caught. Now, just hearing this may not sound that interesting, but let me tell you, okay, this is a thriller anime. And I will admit that this is not an anime for everybody, because this is pure story, okay? This is pure story. This is, again, him doing research, people doing research, trying not to get caught from the church, trying to prove that what their theory is right, and also while proving other people's theories wrong. People who study their lives, they have to, you know what I'm saying? Because this is how the research goes. There's a lot of, hey, we gotta get this out there. We gotta continue this theory. We gotta keep pushing it on until eventually it's able to become public. Now, this anime does start off a little slow, again, because of the topic, but I will say, give it 3 episodes. After episode 3, usually I'm not a guy that says, hey, this gets good at this good at that, but if this is something that you are interested in and the first episode really just pushes you away, get to episode 3. That's how you'll know, okay? That's how you'll know if this is an anime for you. Because to me, it's very similar to Frieren in a sense of, if you give it time, if you sit with it, you'll realize that it's beautiful. Like, it's probably one of the best animes out there. And once the series finishes, I'm gonna make a full video on it. But with that, guys, that is 10 animes that you should be watching right now as they're dropping off weekly. Let me know what you guys think about it. Obviously, I'm not able to say every single anime that's, out there, but let me know what anime you guys are watching down in the comments, and if you want my opinions on some of the animes that you guys like. But with that said, I'll catch you guys next time, and stay weebin'.